Hey y'all, how's it going? GetMeowth back here again for part 3 of the card review. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the card reviews from the last 2 days plus the card dump. Alright, so it's going to be a little bit of a shorter review stream today. And then the next video that'll be coming out tomorrow will have all 47 cards from the card reveals live stream that happened on Wednesday. So that one will be a little bit longer to make up for this one, because you love my beautiful voice. With all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so first up, let's talk about Goru the Might Tree. Alright, so this is the Druid Legendary for the set. 7 mana, 5/10 taunt, so pretty nuts stats, right? This is up there with Ancient of War. Battle Cry for the rest of the game, your Treants have +1/+1. More Treant support, Pog, Champ. This card's really, I think, really good. Your Treants are now 3/3s. More damage, more better, I mean, I like this card. Auto include in every Treant deck, I think without a doubt. And then, some more Treant support. We have Tree Enforcements. So this is a 1-mana spell. Choose one. Give a minion +2 health and taunt, or summon a 2/2 Treant. I mean, this is basically a 1-mana 2/2 to curve out into Dendrologist, into Landscaping, into Garden Gnome. So I mean, this is our Treant curve, right? This is basically, I think, treat it as a 1-mana 2/2 Treant that in, late game scenarios can be +2 health and taunt if you need it. I mean, I think both of these cards are pretty good. I think Goru, obviously a little bit better because the legendary, but I mean, Treant Druid support, I'm all down for it. I think both of these probably see play in that Treant Druid deck. Is it good enough? I mean, maybe. It's I think what Token Druid in Wild is now shifting towards. I don't know if it's good enough yet, but maybe. And next up we have the Druid card Embiggen. Simpsons reference, anyone? But this is a 0-mana epic spell. Give all minions in your deck +2/+2. They now cost 1 more. So I think a lot of people are theory crafting this in like a big Druid deck. The whole point of a big Druid deck is that you don't need to make them more big, right? They're already plenty big enough. I actually really like this card in something like an aggro Token Druid because you actually end up, running out of steam a little bit, around turns 4, turns 5. I mean, I am just imagining pulling a 3/3 Patches from my deck. I'm down for that. I like Embiggen in maybe like a more spell-oriented, using spells to generate tokens as well could be a thing. And then you embiggen the minions that you have. I don't think you go all in on stuff like Oasis Surger or Doppelgangster. I think you just play, the traditional mech aggro Token Druid, with the mechs helping, offset the cost increase from embiggen, and then you get the massive amounts of buffs. More buffs, more better. Alright, so moving on to the next card, we have Stormhammer. This is a hunter weapon, 3 mana, 3/2. Doesn't lose durability when you control a dragon. So yeah, so this is kind of more proof of Hunter shifting towards that mid-range Dragon Hunter style. If you do want to run dragons. I mean, this is basically a 3 mana infinity as long as you're controlling a dragon, and as a mid-range deck, hopefully you're not losing control of the board. I mean, that's the hope at least. Time will tell how good this is. I mean, I think if you're running dragons and Hunter, you're running this weapon. But, seeing all the Hunter cards, I'm still not 100% certain that we want to be running Hunters or dragons and Hunter. So, I mean, maybe experimenting will tell, but I am not too high on dragons, but I am high on this card in that Dragon Hunter deck. Alright, next up, let's talk about maybe the cutest card of the set. Every set needs the 1 or 2 really cute cards, and this might be it, up there with Azure Explorer from Mage. Bronze Explorer, 3 mana, 2/3 dragon, just like a lot of other similar cards. This is Battlecry Discover a Dragon, like a lot of similar cards. And then now you get the kind of paladin flavor of Lifesteal. I mean, I don't love it on its own, but it is a paladin dragon. It's probably better than Netherspite. I mean, it is better than Netherspite, I think. Like, this is not the reason you run dragons and paladin. It's an okay card, but it wins the award for probably the cutest card of the set. All right, next up, let's talk about let's talk about the 2 priest legendaries that have been revealed. So first up we have Murazond the Infinite. This is an 8 mana 8/8 dragon. Battlecry, play all cards your opponent played last turn. I believe with stuff like N'Zoth and Gul'dan, you don't copy battle cries, so you'll just summon the 5/7 N'Zoth, which makes this card a hell of a lot worse, in my opinion. I think the way to think about this card is kind of like a tempo play, right? So your opponent will play a minion, and then what you do is they'll clear your board and play a minion, or a mixture of both, and then basically you do it back, plus you get an 8/8, right? So it's very similar to stuff like Arcane Tyrant, where you're just getting the free 4/4 body. It's kind of similar in that vein. With that being said, it's an interesting card. As a standalone card, I don't think it's good enough to see play in Wild, but I will say that it is a cool card, and maybe I'm completely wrong. It's a really cool and unique effect that we really haven't seen before, so it's very likely that I could be wrong, but my gut instinct is telling me that it's not very good. All right, next up we have Mind Flayer Karj. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Some weird names in the set, I'm not gonna lie. It's a 3 mana 3/3 legendary minion. Battlecry, choose an enemy minion, Death Rattle, summon a new copy of it. So the copy is now on your side. Because you're summoning a new copy, it doesn't keep enchantments or buffs. I mean, I think this is okay. So you think about it as like a piloted shredder, right, in the early game, and then you've got more combo potential late game with stuff like Umbra on a big minion, or if you're able to somehow like Faceless Manipulator with, Faceless, or like a shadowy figure, or a Teldarum, or I guess you're running this, so you're not really running Teldarum, but like similar style of effects. That being said, it's not extremely powerful, but it's probably solid enough in that like Reno Death Rattle Priest deck to see play if you open it, but my instinct is it's not going to be a make or break card, so don't worry about spending the 1600 dust if you're not a Priest lover. We have what Dustbreaker probably should have been. We have Chrono Breaker. This is a 5 mana 4/5 dragon with the Death Rattle. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions. So it is one-sided, unlike Dustbreaker. But this is a Death Rattle, and it's 5 mana. I mean, I'm still running 2 copies of Dustbreaker every time, so this card's probably never seeing play in Wild. Alright, so next up we have Stowaway. This is a 5 mana 4/4 rogue card with the battle cry. If there are cards in your deck that didn't start there, draw 2 of them. So, I mean, outside of the obvious synergy of stuff like Holite Oracle, which you probably don't run this in that deck because it's 5 mana, and 5 mana is a lot for a mill deck that wants to dump cards from hand. And then stuff like Pogo Hopper and a more meme-oriented build. I think where this probably sees play is in some sort of like tempo mid-range rogue deck that runs stuff like Faldori Strider and probably something like the Lackeys and Heist Baron. So like the dream curve is you go Stowaway on, or Faldori Strider on 4, shuffle the 3 spiders in your deck, and then you follow it up with a Stowaway on 5, and you pull 2 of those spiders out, summon them, and now you have played a 5 mana 12/12, where even in Wild that's pretty strong, okay? Outside of that niche scenario, I'm not seeing a ton of synergy with this, so I don't love the card, but I'm also not a rogue player, so I'm not really sure how to envision this kind of tempo mid-range rogue deck. So I could be completely wrong, and the rogue experts out there, shout out to Kohai, might find a way to make this card busted in Wild. But right now, I don't think it's anything that's going to break the meta. But it always has the potential to, so keep an eye on it. Alright, so next up we have the Warlock Legendary Dragon, Zeraku the Warped. This is an 8 mana 4/12 dragon with a text, whenever your hero takes damage, summon a 6/6 Nether Drake. So obviously 10 mana combo in Warlock. 10 mana, summon a 10/18 with your life tap. That's a lot of stats, right? And continuous synergy with Nether Drake. I will say, once you turn into Gul'dan, you will have to hero power your face. But to get the 6/6, that's, I think, still okay, right? If you've gotten to that point where you can be hero powering your face to make a 6/6, you're probably in a pretty good scenario. I think Zeraku is really cool. It's high value. I don't think it's great, but I think he's cool, and I think if you really want to run some dragons in your deck, I'm like, run Zeraku. He's pretty cool. Um, I will say that there may be a way to build something like an even dragon warlock deck, where with the 1 mana hero power, this is probably good top end, like as a finisher in that even Reno Dragon Lock. If you really want to meme and have some fun, I don't think that's like the way you'll build even lock, but I, I I will say I like Zeraku better than Felgorge. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I don't think Zeraku is great. Okay, next up we have Dark Skies. This is another Warlock spell. 3 mana, deal 1 damage to a random minion, repeat for each card in your hand. So this is basically Baby Volcano. Okay, Volcano was 5 mana, deal 15 with 2 overload. This is 3 mana, no overload, deal like 7 or 8 or 9, right? That makes it like a decent card, right? I can totally see this seeing play in something like a Reno Lock deck. Um, 3 is a lot for Snip Lock, so I don't know if it'll see play there. But, I mean, Volcano is maybe up there for one of Shaman's best AoE cards. Warlock has a lot of good AoE cards, okay? But Dark Skies is yet another option that Warlock totally needed for removal. I kind of like this against stuff like Mech Paladin, right? Mech Paladin and Odrig, that curves the double Hench Clan Thugs. I mean, I think this card's good. I think this card's not an auto-include, but a tech choice for Reno Warlock decks. Okay, next up we have a card that's already kind of been leaked, but now we have the official release of the card. Scion of Ruin, 3 mana 3/2 dragon with Rush and Battlecry. If you've invoked twice, summon 2 copies of it. So this is a dragon. You get a 3 mana 9/6 if you've invoked twice. That's pretty powerful if you guys needed telling. The problem is that you're having to run the Warrior Galakron, which I'm not too high on. But Dragon Warrior needs stuff. And maybe a Galakron Dragon Warrior deck to take advantage of stuff like Alexstrasza's Champion and Scion of Ruin is what you need, right? When it comes to Galakron payoff cards, right? Every class has this if you've invoked twice kind of payoff card. This is probably the best payoff card. I think this card's nuts. Absolutely insane. Even if the Warrior Galakron's not, this card might be the reason you run it. It's pretty insane. I love it. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. I don't know if it'll see play because of the Warrior Galakron, but this card on its own is nuts. Alright, next up we have another Warrior card, Evil Quartermaster, 3 mana 2/3 with a Battlecry. Add a lackey to your hand, gain 3 armor. I only really see this seeing play in something like Odd Warrior if you want to go for more proactive plays rather than a pure reactive Odd Warrior deck. I can see this taking the place of something like a Ravaging Ghoul if you don't need the AoE effect. Outside of that, I don't think it's anything major that's going to go in any like crazy new powerful deck. Lackeys and Warrior never really took off, even in like the Tempo Warrior that was really popular in Standard never really trickled over to Wild. And I don't think this is the card that's going to make it, a thing in Wild. Alright, so let's talk about Frizz Kindle Roost. This is one of the new legendaries for the expansion. 4 mana, 5/4, so really good stats. And an even better Battlecry, okay? Reduce the cost of dragons in your deck by 2. Imagine if you had a 7 mana Malagos, and then you discounted it with an Emperor Thorson combo. Right? Or, if you have a deck full of dragons because you're running something like Dragon Druid or Dragon Priest or Dragon Warrior, imagine, what is it, Scion of Ruin, right? Imagine if that was 1 mana. 1 mana 9/6 with Rush? That's insane, right? Frizz is good. I think Frizz, if you're running anything remotely more than 8 or 9 dragons, you probably just want to go ahead and run Frizz in for the potential high roll. I mean, I think the card's good. On its own, it's a 4 mana 5/4, so it's not like you're hindering yourself with a shitty card to have the really powerful effect. It's a good card on its own. So, I like it. Probably will see play. Okay, next up we have Tentacled Menace. This is a 5 mana 6/5 with a Battlecry. Each player draws a card, swap their cost. This is really memey. I'm ready to lose to this, but I don't think it's a good card, and probably shouldn't see play. It punishes aggro decks that have really cheap stuff, and then they are playing against an opponent that has really expensive stuff, and then like you draw a Mal'Ganis. Well, yeah, you have a Mal'Ganis that you can't play for 4 turns, and then they clear your board and you win, or they win, right? So meme card, I don't think it's going to see play. All right, so let's talk about Wormrest Purifier. This is a 2-mana 3/2 epic card. Battlecry, transform all neutral cards in your deck into random cards from your class. On its own, it's not very good, okay? But, recording this, right as the reveal stream has ended, this card probably will see play in that Paladin deck, the Light Forged or Pure Paladin deck. Outside of that, won't see play. All right, next up we have Blowtorch Saboteur. This is a 3-mana 3/4 Battlecry. Your opponent's next hero power costs 3. I mean, this is Saboteur, right, which is a 3-mana 4/3. Your next hero power costs 5 more. Your opponent's hero power costs 5 more. This is a 3-mana 3/4, so it's more defensively statted, with the downside of it only being 3. Saboteur was nowhere close to seeing play. Neither will this. All right, next up we have Depth Charged. This is a 1-mana 0/5. At the start of your turn, deal 5 damage to all minions. This is very similar vein to Doomsayer. I don't think it's better than Doomsayer. It does come down for 1 mana, that's true, but I don't know how much of a deal that is, because Doomsayer comes down 1 turn later, has 2 more health. I think the only place this will see play, because I don't think you want to run 4 copies of Doomsayer. You can run this on like Treachery Warlock, right? So you can tempo Doomsayers, and then you also have Depth Charges if you need them. Kind of really lock your opponent out of the game with double Defile, double Depth Charge, double Doomsayer with Treacheries against aggro. I can see that where this sees play, but I honestly do love me some Doomsayer, so I don't think that this will see play. Okay, next up we have a 5-mana 3/5 Dragon, Cobalt Spellkin. Battlecry, add 2 1-cost spells from your class to your hand. 5-mana 3/5 aren't very good stats. The 2 1-cost spells, they're 1-cost spells for a reason, right? And they're random, which is obviously making it a little bit worse. I think the only place that this could see play is in that Quest Redomage list. Because if it's perfectly in that deck, but outside of that deck, I don't think you want to be running this, on purpose. All right, next up we have Dragon Maw Poacher. This is a 4-mana 4/4 Battlecry. If your opponent controls a dragon, gain +4/+4 and rush. I absolutely hate this card. This is in the vein of like the worst way to make tech cards, right? This is in a similar design to Skulking Geist and stuff like Galakar Crawler, where you run a crap card in your deck so that you auto win the game if you run into the correct archetype, right? To me, that's just shitty, and I know this card will see play, but I hate that it will. I really dislike this card. This card's so dumb and screams bad game design in my opinion, but I'm obviously not a game designer. But this is going to suck to lose to, right? This is one of those cards that's huge swing turn, and people are going to rage quit and hate the game when they lose to this card. So, not a fan, don't love it, but probably will see play. Okay, next up we have a card that I think will 100% see play, and I actually really, really like this card as a buff to stuff like Odd Paladin and Odd Rogue. Faceless Corruptor, 5-mana 5/4 with Rush. Battlecry, transform one of your minions into a copy of this. So basically you take one of your 1/1 dudes, right, or the leftovers of like a Righteous Protector or whatever, and it transforms it into a 5/4 with Rush. Okay, that's like huge tempo gain. Holy crap, insane tempo gain, right? Odd Rogue, you have stuff like Lackeys or your little 1/1 Pirates that you can transform into a 5/4 with Rush. Even stuff like Quest Shaman has all the Lackey generators and totems in the early game that you can now make a 5/4 minion with Rush. This card's nuts. This card goes up there with stuff like Fungal Mancers and Loatheb as like an auto-include in those Odd Paladin and Odd Rogue decks. I think this card's nuts. This card's really, really strong. As somebody that loves their slow decks, this card scares me a little bit. But it's good. Aggro always needs help, right? To keep the greedy decks in check. Faceless Corruptor's good. I think up there for one of the best cards in the set. Love it. Okay, and last but not least, for this short little card review, we have Plate Breaker. This is a 5-mana 5/5. Destroy your opponent's armor. Wow, we finally made this. Finally made this tech card. I don't think it'll ever see play outside of, suboptimal deck list that I'm 100% going to lose to. But I think it's a decent body, but in Wild, decent bodies aren't good enough, right? You need the synergy, you need the cards to work well with each other. Plate Breaker is a 5-mana 5/5 that I think will probably be seeing play in combo decks if you really can only deal 30, right? Or can only deal 35, and it's really imperative that you destroy your opponent's armor. Then this is probably going to see play. But outside of that, I don't think you should be running this card. Alright guys, we made it. Hope you guys enjoyed card review part 3. I'm looking forward to the expansion more and more every day with every card that gets revealed. I love powerful cards. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, power creep. But, I mean, that just means more new tools for us to play in Wild. So I love it. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe here. Part 4 of this card review will be coming out tomorrow. With 47 cards from the live card reveal. So it'll be a little bit of a longer one, but we'll skip over a bunch of the bad cards, hopefully, to make it not insanely long. Okay? But love y'all. If you guys want to see live content as, the expansion hits, make sure you guys drop a follow on my Twitch, which you can find down below, or twitch.tv/GetMeowth. We'll be streaming every day next week, 5 hours of brand new Wild deck list content. And then if you guys want some memes or some theory crafts or deck lists and stuff like that, make sure you guys head over to my Twitter as well. But yeah, appreciate you guys' time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Later.